the slightest chance of snow during the overnight hours, particularly in the higher elevations. Our first look at weather, mostly clear skies with a low temperature 24 degrees overnight tonight, Alexa.
Yeah, and with those cold temperatures, we're having warmer highs during the day with a lot of sun. So in the sun, it's probably 45. In the shadows, it's probably more like 23.
Yeah, and Alexa, I'm saying warm is relative at this point as well. Of course, we are in early November right now during the daytime tomorrow. Mostly clear skies with a high of 41. Complete weather details straight ahead here on WVTT.
Now, WVTT. Global News Update.
Around the globe, keeping an eye on the U.S. presidential election. Election night is here. Polls are still open. They remain open in New York State until 9 o'clock tonight, close at 8 o'clock tonight in Pennsylvania. Americans deciding whether or not to re-elect President Obama. Ed Payne has the latest.
President Barack Obama and Republican candidate Mitt Romney made their last appeals to voters before Election Day. During a stop in Columbus, Ohio, Obama asked for 4 more years in the White House.
The reason why we're here is because we've got more work to do. Our work is not yet done.
Romney told supporters in Sanford, Florida, that it's time for new leadership.
You hope that President Obama would live up to his promise to bring people together and to solve problems. He hasn't. I will.
Romney's running mate, Paul Ryan, echoed that thought while campaigning in Reno, Nevada.
We don't have to settle for this. We can do better than this. This may be the best that Barack Obama can offer, but this is not the best America can have.
But Vice President Joe Biden told the crowd in Sterling, Virginia, that Obama is the best choice.
Presidential elections are ultimately about character. It's the most important ingredient a president must possess to lead a great nation and lead the world. And President Obama has the character of his convictions.
Voters in Dixville Notch, New Hampshire were the first to cast votes. The town has opened its polls at midnight on Election Day since 1960, but for the first time in history, the vote was tied. Obama and Romney got 5 votes each. In Hart's Location, New Hampshire, President Obama beat out Governor Romney 23-9. I'm Ed Payne reporting.
The entire country is buzzing as voters swarm to polling sites. Whether the excitement is anticipation of the final results or that the presidential race will finally be over, it all comes down to tonight. Renee Marsh is live in Chicago at Obama campaign headquarters on Election Day.
Later on this evening, we'll see supporters packed into the Obama headquarters here at McCormick Place in Chicago. The stage is set and the president will take to that stage at some point to either give a victory speech or concede the race to Mitt Romney. But at this hour, both candidates have already cast their ballots. People are lining up at polling stations across the nation, and even some noteworthy ballots are being cast. For President Obama, months of campaigning all come down to today.
Are you fired up? Are you fired up?
A rousing and emotional speech in Iowa left the president with a tear in his eye and hearkening back to where he started promoting change in the 2008 Iowa caucuses.
We cannot be stopped. And after all we've been through together, after all that we've fought through together, we cannot give up on change now.
His dizzying tour across the country marks the end of an era for the president, his final presidential campaign. From Wisconsin to Ohio and Iowa, he focused not only on the undecided voters, but re-energized the loyal voters from 2008 to cast their ballot again.
It all comes down to you. It's out of my hands now. It's in yours. The single most powerful force in our democracy is you. Moving this country forward begins with you.
The president is in Chicago today while the country gets out to vote. Per tradition, he will play a game of basketball with his staff before ending his day at McCormick Place in Chicago, where he hopes for a repeat of that 2008 November night. Well, the president's schedule will look nothing like it looked yesterday. He will be lying low, spending time with family and friends today. He'll also do some satellite interviews, and we may even see him out in Chicago saying thank you to all of those volunteers after a very long campaign. Reporting from Chicago, I'm Renee Marsh.
Renee Marsh reporting live from Obama presidential campaign headquarters. Remember, WVTT's coverage of Election Night 2000 results begins tonight at 7 o'clock here on News Channel 25 and also simulcast on the radio at News Radio 96.7 FM WVTT. Other news from around the country now. More than 1 million people in the Northeast are still without power tonight, a week after Superstorm Sandy came ashore. The Red Cross has opened 190 shelters along the eastern seaboard. So many homes were destroyed or damaged beyond repair by flooding and fires. For many storm victims, where and how to vote today is just not the top concern. They're worried about where they'll live for the next weeks or even months to come. Jason Carroll reports.
Olympia Boulevard is like many streets in this section of Midland Beach, Staten Island. Most of the homes destroyed. At least 2 people died on this block, an elderly couple who lived in this home. Life here, a struggle for basic necessities, clean water, a place to live.
We have Pampers, wet ones, water or food, anyone?
So it may come as no surprise while the rest of the country is focused on Election Day, now just hours away. That feels like a world away to people like David Kudanatov, who is still trying to recover whatever can be salvaged.
Priority is getting myself reorganized at my home. That's it. Politics has no meaning. Romney, Obama, none of them really matter as of now.
Across the street, Anita McGrath arrives at her home for the first time since evacuating before the storm. It has been condemned. Her cat, Robbie, survived. Robbie! If she can just coax him out. Voting and politics will have to wait for her, too. There are more pressing priorities.
Someplace else to live, I guess. But as long as me and my family's okay, I don't care about anything else. I'm sorry.
Numbers are not in yet. Officials are still counting those displaced by the storm.
Thank God we got our lives. That's the important thing.
Milton Haber will be included in that official number.
It's devastating. And, I'm retired from the EMS. I have been through a lot of disasters, but when it happens to you, it's totally different.
Despite losing his home, the cleanup for him is not yet underway. Instead, meetings with FEMA taking up much of his day. Despite it all, Haber says he will not let the election pass him by.
I'm going to go vote.
You are still going to go vote?
Yeah, it's an American thing to do.
After so much has been taken from the people of Staten Island, feeling powerless in the wake of Hurricane Sandy, for some, casting a vote gives them a sense of empowerment, even if it's a small one.
I'm voting. I'm going to work tomorrow.
Going to work, casting a vote, things many take for granted, but not here. Jason Carroll, CNN, Staten Island, New York.
Lots more news coming up here on the 6 o'clock report. We'll also take a look at WVTT sports and perhaps the weirdest presidential poll that you'll find from our Jeannie Moose. Her story up next here on News Channel 25 WVTT.